I'm Dr. Jim Taylor, and welcome to Prime Family Alert. This segment of Prime Family Alert focuses on the 3 pillars of successful achievers. Parents who want their children to achieve something called quote-unquote success may find that that goal conflicts with their desire for their children to also become happy. Achieving success is typically defined by our culture, emphasizes wealth and social status, and is often at odds with what the research has shown to produce happiness. The goal of parents should be to raise successful achievers. Successful achievers are very different from children who simply achieve success. In the latter case, children are successful. For example, they get straight A's in school, are top athletes, or star in the performing arts, but they're also unhappy. In contrast, parents who want to raise successful achievers view success and happiness as mutually inclusive categories. Success without happiness is not success at all. The development of successful achievers comes from fostering the 3 pillars of successful achievers: self-esteem, ownership, and emotional mastery. These 3 areas provide the foundation for raising children who are successful, happy, value-driven, and contributing adults. The first pillar, self-esteem. Self-esteem has been perhaps the most misunderstood and misused developmental factor in recent generations. In the last few decades, parents were led to believe that self-esteem developed if a child felt loved and valued. This belief caused parents to love and encourage and support and reward and reinforce their children regardless of what their children actually did. Yet, this unconditional love is only one half of the self-esteem equation. The second part is that children need to develop a sense of competence and mastery over their world. Most basically, children need to learn that their actions matter, that their actions have consequences. If they do good things happen. If they do bad things happen. And importantly, if they do nothing, nothing happens. The only way for your children to develop this sense of competence is for them to try things, succeed, and yes, experience failure. Unfortunately, parents make 2 mistakes in their ill-advised attempts to develop this sense of competence in their children. First, they try to convince their children how capable they are by telling them they are the most wonderful, talented, and amazing children in the world. The problem with this approach is that life has a way of showing children who have been convinced that they're exceptional by their parents that, well, they really aren't. Second, out of a misguided belief that failure would hurt their children's self-esteem, many parents have done their best to protect their children from failure. In doing so, children don't learn from and gain competence from their mistakes. And parents end up creating the very thing they wanted to avoid, namely children with low self-esteem. Yes, children need to feel loved and secure to develop high self-esteem. But just as importantly, they must feel a sense of confidence in their capabilities to navigate their increasingly complex world. Second pillar, ownership. Out of fear that their children won't become as successful as their parents want them to be, many parents make their children their little achievement projects, managing and micromanaging their children to ensure that they do everything they need to do to succeed. In doing so, though, these parents steal their children's lives by taking ownership of their achievement activities. These parents place the burden of their own self-esteem on their children's shoulders, a crushing weight, I can assure you. Though these efforts are often well-intentioned, of course parents love their children and want them to become successful. The result is that children feel no sense of ownership or responsibility for their own efforts. Without this ownership of their lives and their goals, children have little incentive to work hard toward these goals, except perhaps out of fear that their parents won't love them. The children end up thinking, this isn't mine, so why should I even try? These children come to hate the achievement activity in which they participate because they feel forced to do it and usually end up quitting, even something that they once loved. Many parents with whom I consult complain that their children have lost their motivation, and it's my job to find their motivation, as if it's gotten lost somewhere behind their dresser or under their bed. But the question isn't where did they lose their motivation, but rather what is suppressing it. The amazing and paradoxical thing is that when parents relinquish ownership of their children's achievement activities, they free their children to regain ownership and passion for them. Children need to gain a sense of ownership of their life's interests, efforts, and achievements. This ownership means that they engage in an activity out of an enduring love for it, because they see its value, or because it's necessary to achieve their goals, and as a result, have an internally derived motivation to do their best. They think, this is mine, so I want to do the very best I can. This ownership also provides them with an immense source of gratification and pride from their efforts that further motivates them to strive higher in their achievement efforts. The third pillar, emotional mastery. The third pillar of successful achievers, emotional mastery, is perhaps the most neglected aspects of children's development. Despite its obvious importance, where do children most often learn about emotions? Either from their parents, now that can be a scary idea, or from popular culture, which rarely ever shows healthy expressions of emotions. Also, parents have been led to believe that allowing their children to experience negative emotions, such as frustration or anger, will somehow hurt their self-esteem. So parents placate and assuage and comfort and distract their children from these emotions and attempt to create artificial emotions, positive emotions that is, by praising and buying things for them. The problem is that emotions are two sides of the same coin. Children can't experience love, happiness, joy, and excitement unless they're also allowed to experience frustration, anger, sadness, and disappointment. Parents who protect their children from their emotions are actually interfering with their children's healthy emotional growth. These children end up never learning how to deal effectively with their emotions because they have little experience with their emotions and end up entering adulthood ill-equipped for its emotional demands. Only by being allowed to experience the full range of emotions are children able to figure out what emotions they're feeling, what the emotions mean to them, and very importantly, how they can express those emotions in a healthy way. Because emotional mastery is not the absence of emotions, but rather the ability to recognize emotions, understand where they came from, and again, to express them in healthy ways. Children who do not develop emotionally can still achieve success. We see many very successful business people, professional athletes, and actors who are acclaimed, but the price they pay is often discontentment and unhappiness in their successes, as expressed in, for example, immaturity, narcissism, alcohol and drug abuse, and divorce. Emotional mastery enables children to not only become successful, but also to find satisfaction and joy in their efforts. In other words, to become successful achievers. The ability of your children to become successful achievers will be grounded in several essential beliefs that you can foster in them. I am loved, a sense of value. I am capable, a sense of competence. It is important to try, the value of effort. I'm responsible for my day, sense of ownership. It is okay to make mistakes, the value of failure. I can handle things when they go wrong, a resilient response to adversity. I enjoy what I do, the value of passion and joy. And finally and importantly, I can change, which with that belief, they become a master of their own lives. I'm Dr. Jim Taylor for Prime Family Alert.